Do you know the average time it takes a recruiter to review your resume? 6 seconds. That's it. We spend 30 times longer microwaving popcorn. Now, I'm sure most of you have not gotten a job and wondered why. Well, the real reason may surprise you, and it may also surprise the people that are making the decision as well. Now, research has suggested that we are actually bombarded with 11 million pieces of information at any given time, but we can only handle 40. So our brain creates shortcuts so we can make decisions quickly without overwhelm. But this creates bias that we're unaware of, known as unconscious bias. Now, I think when most of us think about bias, we think about the typical, right? Race, age, gender. But what about the not so obvious? The kind of things we don't discuss. The kind of thing that maybe will shock you. The kind of thing that'll make the difference between your resume going in the yes or no pile. I'm a recruiter and a career coach. And a couple years ago, I interviewed an amazing candidate, an absolute star, and I thought for sure she would get the job. But it didn't happen. So obviously I asked the hiring manager, why didn't you hire this candidate? And this is what she said. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's just a gut feeling I have. Oh boy, I knew there was trouble. Then she said, did you notice her white pumps? You don't wear white pumps after Labor Day. And then I said, oh, I never got the corporate memo on that one, sorry. But her beliefs and judgments were so strong about wearing white pumps after Labor Day that it actually distracted her, believe it or not, from properly assessing the candidate and her accomplishments. This wasn't a conscious decision, but a conscious one. So I've reviewed probably over 1 million resumes in my career. And let me tell you, every single detail of your resume, not including your skills, can be a deciding factor in whether you go in the yes or the no pile. Okay, so a mailing address indicates a long commute or undesirable location, could put you in the no. An email address, such as crazymom666, can put you in the no. I'm not one of those. Even a reputable college, such as Indiana University, can be perceived as not a pedigree school by some. Guess what? I just put Mark Cuban in the no pile. And that's not all. Some recruiters will do a social media investigation on you. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, the list goes on. And nothing is private. Any information that they see can be used against you and put you in the no pile. A Facebook picture of you drunk at a party puts you in the no. A stay-at-home dad who's perceived as lazy, wanting to return to the workforce. Or that political tweet that doesn't quite agree with the recruiter can easily put you in the no. Then we've got the next step. Oh, this is my favorite. The phone interview. There can't be any judgment with the phone interview. It's like the show The Voice for hiring. There can't be any judgment because they can't see your body language or your appearance. Wrong. There can be unconscious bias based on your tone, pitch, and accent. All of that can put you in the no pile based on the recruiter's perception. And then we're at the final step, the in-person interview. Appearances count. Tattoos would have put FDR and Thomas Edison in the no. Crazy hair puts Albert Einstein in the no. She's blonde, bimbo. Sorry, Marissa Mayer, you go in the know. And then we've got two great candidates, Bill and Chang, both going for the same IT job. But we know Asians are better with technology. We just put a young Bill Gates in the no pile. 20 years of this unconscious bias really drained me. It really made me feel that maybe I didn't belong in recruiting anymore. So when I was 20 years old, I was, believe it or not, a Gothed out NYU student, wrongly perceived and judged by my appearance and my so what attitude. I knew what it felt like to be misunderstood. Maybe I did need to leave recruiting and get out, but that was not the answer. So I needed to dig deep and do some self-awareness. So I did a recruiting audit on myself, and it did take a couple of months. Did I, in fact, have unconscious bias? And the brutal discovery, I did have unconscious bias. We all have unconscious bias all the time. It's not just in corporate America. It's everywhere. It's in our schools, dating, politics, media, judicial system. Why? Because our fears help shape our decisions. Fear of making a mistake, of not belonging, of losing our job, or of change itself. So we make decisions that make us feel safe. But every single day, we're making hiring mistakes because we don't see things as they are, but as who we are. I knew there was no way out of this. No way out. But I needed to stay in a profession that I loved, and that's what I did. So I needed to research the heck out of unconscious bias and do everything possible to prevent it. So I dug deep in self-awareness, and let me tell you, that's a little scary. I wrote down my assumptions, judgments, perceptions, and I had a huge discovery. I don't like bright red polka dot dresses. I unconsciously put a candidate in the no pile for wearing it, and that's embarrassing. I also took Harvard's online implicit association test to measure my level of bias. But I had an amazing discovery. I started to challenge myself and the hiring managers with two simple words. Two words that had the most impact on unraveling unconscious bias. Two words that I used a lot as a goth chick from Jersey. So what? So what? So what if the candidate has an hour commute and is more than willing to do so? Just because the former employee quit doesn't mean the next candidate will. So what if the candidate was drunk at a party? One Facebook picture doesn't mean they're going to be drinking on the job. And so what if they've been out of work for 6 months? There could be a really good reason for it. Asking yourself, so what? It's a pause. It's a self-check. It helps you remove your emotional clutter. It helps you return to the conscious. It also helps you focus on what is important by questioning the facts and judgments that you use to make decisions. Look, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that we will all be wrongly judged and perceived by someone else's unconscious bias. And at times it's worth defending, and in other times it's a big, so what? Likewise, we will wrongly judge and perceive others by our own unconscious bias. And now we know how to keep it in check by asking ourselves, so what? After all, our individual differences and similarities help build our collective strength. Okay, So now imagine when I first walked on stage, I'm now wearing a bright red, white polka dot dress, purple hair, I'm wearing those white, lovely pumps, and tattoos. So what? Thank you.